I feel like a writer because when I read a story to someone, to my family, they think it's really good, and that gets me to do more stories and stuff.
It's like I've been writing for 2,000 years, but it's fun, and I write a lot at home, or I like to make my own books and write it, and then I put it in my bookshelf, and then I just read it a lot.
I think I definitely write to fiction better because I can explore and write anything I want.
I write a lot, even in my house, because I write a lot. I have a journal, and I write fantasy stories. My family is so weird. I get my ideas from them, and my friends, they are nice, and some of them are kind of funny. So I try to make them more funny in my stories, and everybody will laugh.
For writing to be meaningful for students, again, they have to choose things from their life that are meaningful, that they have to start from inside and work their way out. But they also have to have a way to get their voice out, that they have to understand that that's what writing does, and that my voice now on this paper can go to so many more people than it could have if I just were talking to them.
Successful writing workshops begin with teachers, but the motivation to write has to come from students, their interests, passions, and experiences. To tap into this rich source of inspiration, children need to know that they're important, that their families, communities, and cultures are important, and that their lives are worth talking and writing about. How can teachers help students see the intrinsic value of their experiences? What practices encourage children to look inside themselves for reasons to write? How does choice motivate young writers? And what helps students understand the power of written communication? Reasons for Writing explores the answers to these questions through visits to classrooms where teachers value and celebrate their students' experiences, and where children feel free to draw from their family and cultural backgrounds.
I'm writing this piece I wrote about when I went to the zoo, and you want to read it? I remember when we went to the zoo and our guide started talking about the chupacabras, and we got scared. So we separated in groups. We hid it in the bushes. Then the guide told us that the chupacabras lived in the bushes. So we went with him. But he kept talking about the chupacabras. Then we heard a noise like somebody was trying to get air. And the zookeeper told us he didn't know what it was. And then Miss Edgerton responded to the story, and she said, "I cannot believe that the zookeeper sounded like that." In Mexico, there's this legend that animal goes and eats animals. And it's a legend, and lots of people get scared when they hear the legend. It's usually the parents told that story so the kids won't go at night outside.
When we view our students who come into our classroom, their experiences and their families as rich potential texts to be read, to be learned from, to be interacted with, to contribute to the diverse perspectives and diverse literacies or multiple literacies that occur over time in a classroom, then to begin to value and draw upon their home lives and what they know. To view their language languages as rich resources.
As Ralph points out, children's languages and family backgrounds can be a rich source of inspiration for writing. That's true in Christine Sanchez's third grade class in Totolina, New Mexico, where the Navajo culture and language are revered and celebrated. Today, the children choose to begin their workshop with a traditional Navajo greeting.
What greeting would you like us to do this morning? Navajo greeting, okay.
Sylvia Edgerton teaches in a dual immersion elementary school in Phoenix, Arizona. Many of her fifth graders are native Spanish speakers, and all of them come from Latino backgrounds. As part of the immersion program, Sylvia's students sometimes write entirely in Spanish. Other times they punctuate their English writing with Spanish dialogue or vocabulary. This practice reflects the students' experiences and allows them to write more authentically and colorfully about their families and communities.
I think this is really interesting. Why you practice your leads in English, but in your writing piece you wrote it in Spanish? Why?
I decided to do Spanglish in the beginning, and so I wrote some parts in Spanish at the beginning.
But why? Why did you decide to do Spanglish in the beginning?
Because my parents only speak Spanish.
Oh, okay. It makes sense. Okay. So that's
The dual immersion approach at Sylvia's school makes it easier for her to honor her students' languages and culture. But there are other ways that teachers can demonstrate their respect for children's experiences. Starting on the first day of school, Latasha Rowley, a third-grade teacher from Indianapolis, lets her students know that what they think and feel is important. One way she does this is to have the children reflect on the things that matter most to them and record them in their writer's notebooks. Now it's later in the year, and the students return to this information to help them find ideas worth exploring through writing.
Because so many children come into the classroom having had an experience of someone giving them a topic or insisting that they write about a certain thing, even suggesting. And to free them, sometimes we almost have to force them into looking at their own lives. But we need to get them to have the trust in a classroom, to create the kind of trust in a classroom that will allow every single student, no matter what kind of life they have, to understand that it's theirs and it's valuable and it's important and we want to know about it. And that take the risk of sharing it with us.
Look back at your heart map, your heart puzzle. Remember we created those heart puzzles and it had all of that wonderful stuff that was important to us in our lives. Should be right there at the beginning of your notebook so that you can take a look at it and think about all those wonderful things that you can write about. So think about them and then see if you can create a poem with one of those topics. And I know some of you had pets, you had mom, you had dad, you had grandparents, you had parties and games, all kinds of topics that you had in your heart map. So look at that for a moment and then decide on something that you could create a poem using that topic. At the beginning of the school year, we did a heart map, and that was just an opportunity for us to get started with our writerly life. And that is just things that are important to us. And we put it in a heart shape because that's things that are near and dear to our hearts, things that we love or things that just are so important to us, it makes it easy for us to write about. And so the students and we kind of section it off like a puzzle. And so it would be pieces of our heart. And that gives them kind of a starting point. If they're thinking, oh, I don't have anything to write about, well, they can always go back to their heart and think about, oh yeah, I can write about the game that I love. And then they can, so it's just a nice, I guess, organization tool that is meaningful because they each have one at the beginning of their writer's notebooks.
By having her students keep a writer's notebook, Latasha is giving them a ready source of inspiration and ideas. In most writing workshops, such notebooks are indispensable. And as Katie Wood Ray asserts, they should be part of students' lives both in and out of school.
Writer's notebooks have to leave school. If they're staying at school, they're really not, they're not matching the way writers use them. Writers use them because for the very fact that they're away from their desks. And some of your best ideas happen when you're not sitting at your desk. So you need to have a place to make sure you get that down. And so they have to go outside school. I mean, kids lose them sometimes. Adults lose them sometimes. It just happens. But that's when they really become powerful too, is when you bring the potential of the world into the writing workshop in a notebook.
When I got the little notebook first, we went outside to go hear the noises and stuff, like the airplanes, and like the sounds that we knew. And then after that, I went home after that day, and then after I did my homework and everything again, I kept on thinking about that little notebook, what should I write in it or not. And then when my brother told me to play, I said, I have to write something real quick. And then I went outside, and I have a palm tree, and it bangs against the gate. And I went to go listen to that noise, and it goes, ch, ch, ch. And I wrote that down. How did it sound to me? Like, where was it at? And that I wrote in that.
I like it because you can write down your thoughts of what you've done the past few days, and you can turn them into a great big story. And that seems really fun because you can just get everything down and you can make it this huge, great story.
Back in Christine Sanchez's room, her children are participating in a morning ritual. Every day they spend several minutes writing about a recent experience in their notebooks. When they're finished, Christine invites them to share their entries with the rest of the class.
Well, in the morning we have a writer's notebook, and they come in and then they just put down any thoughts they have. And I said, you know, these are things that are important to you. They may not seem like it now, but whatever you're writing might spring another idea and another one. And it serves different purposes. For some of them, just getting some thoughts down on paper. For others, they're actually using it as a tool. So it's been a good tool to address a lot of the different needs that the children have. Some of them, they just need to write, and then others, it's a good place to get ideas.
Tomorrow night we are going to sing a song for Christmas Caroline. Me and Janaea has our song sheet for Christmas. I can't wait because last time Janaea's dad and family gave us hot cocoa, and I wish it was like that again and again.